Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the February 2023 meeting of Pittsburgh's LGBTQIA plus Commission. We're going to start with roll call. Taking roll. Billy, could you please do that?
Sure. So I've been looking as you arrived, and Kathy Boyle is here, and Nakia Burton Tucker is not here. Denise DeSimone is here. I don't see Jam yet. Jam Hammond. Billy Heilman is here. Sue Kerr is here. Bruce Krause is joining us right now, right on cue. And Maria Montano is here. Lenny Orbovich is here. Richard Parsakian is here. I haven't seen Shantae Porter yet. Christopher Robinson, I have not seen Christopher yet. Nor Marcus Robinson, who may not make it due to personal reasons. Sarah Rosso is here. Derek Tynes, I have not seen Derek yet. And Guillermo Velasquez is here. We have quorum, more than.
Great, thank you very much. Let's move on to the reading and approval of minutes. I'm going to use my phone to look at the agenda. It's a little easier with this laptop that I'm on right now. Has everyone received a copy of the minutes? Are there, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, Kathy's second. All right, let's take a vote. All in favor of approving the January 2023 minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Great, okay. All right, let's move on to reports of officers, boards, and standing committees. First up is the co-chair reports. Sarah, do you have any reports that you wanted to make? Are you still here, Sarah? She may have dropped off.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can revisit that if we have time at the end. Just in case there's something that she needed to say. We have the Pirates meeting coming up next Tuesday from 4 to 5. It's a virtual meeting. Those of you who answered the doodle poll, that's what it's called. I didn't assume you were coming. That was a time that you were available, but I wanted to confirm who was coming. I think that the most efficient way to do this is to send the Pirates everyone's name, and then whoever can join us that time frame, in case your schedule frees up or something, you'll be able to join us. Is anyone planning to attend right now? Great. Okay. Last time we had a meeting about 30 minutes ahead of time just to review our priorities and schedule. We had a different agenda, or a very specific agenda at that point. So I don't know if that's necessary this time, since this is more responding to them as a chance to talk about issues. Kathy, Lenny, what do you have any strong feelings about that?
No, sounds good. What you suggested.
Lenny, you okay with that? Yeah.
I am, so.
I'm not aware of any significant, very specific issues that we want to talk about. So if anyone has something, please email. We can add it to the conversation. And other than thanking them for what they did with their radio ads and then finding out what their plans are for Pride, nothing specific comes to mind. So, but that's easy enough to address. Okay, let's move on to the secretary report. Billy?
Yes, what I just want to alert people to, I sent it in the email that I sent this afternoon, the list of dates of our regular meetings. What I didn't put in the email was that is the third Thursday of the month at 5:30. So the pattern that we have been following is what we adopted for the rest of the 23 school year. I just automatically say school year, the calendar year. So that's what we're, so that's in the email. That's my only announcement, but I will add this because I thought of it while I was talking, that I need to upload a couple of the more recent approved minutes. I'll be able to do the January ones now into our Google Docs. Right now, that's the only place that they live, but you have access to them. We do have an obligation to have our agenda and our minutes posted publicly. So we'll have to work on making sure that they're available on the website. But I wanted to just bring up that note that you have access to all the minutes and agenda for every meeting that we've had, at least since August of 21. That's it.
I'd like to add to that please take a look at the dates and anything you know ahead of time that you won't be available to attend. You can go ahead and notify Billy now if you have plans or you have a work commitment or something like that. The sooner we know if there's going to be an issue with quorum, the better. So please take a moment and do that. Make sure you get those dates in your calendar. Billy, anything? No, you said that's it. Anything? Any questions about the secretary's report? So apparently one of my cats is crawling under the bed. I don't know why. And if they're really noisy, I apologize for that. I can't actually get them. Let's move on to the treasurer's report. Denise?
I wish I had something to report. It's been, I guess, close to 5 weeks that I've been trying to get a meeting or a conversation with Patrick, and Morgan has tried and she's helping make that connection, but he's not responded to emails. So still, hoping to get at least a 30-minute conversation.
I can talk to him tomorrow to see if I can't nudge a response out of him.
Thank you.
So to clarify, we don't really know our budgeted amount or how to access it or what the process is or any of that kind of information. Is that correct, Denise?
Yes, I'm just really looking to understand how it works.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
Sue, can I jump in there?
Sure, of course.
Hi. Yeah, Denise, I'm happy to assist. We can go through the council budget office as well too, if that can help expedite things. And I apologize that there's been delay and that I could have helped sooner. So Denise, how about what's the best way for you and I to connect? How about just through an email in the office for starters? Okay. I think you might be muted, Denise. I can't hear.
No, just can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I can shoot you an email with my contact information and whatever.
Let's do that. Yeah, and we'll do it by phone. I apologize. I helped expedite things. We'll get it done. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise and Bruce. Let's move on to the outreach coordinators report. We're making really good time tonight. We don't actually have an outreach coordinator right now. These are duties shared across the existing members of the executive committee. Billy, Denise, do you have anything that you wanted to share?
We're continuing to post and try to drive some visibility to the group. If there's any events that we coming up, I'd like to post those too. So if anybody knows any events, I think it's important that we all participate in events with our community. So anything that you guys think is relevant and important for us to attend, please let me know in advance so that I could post it.
Denise, I just forwarded everybody a request for an article in Qberg. And I think it would be important for the commission to respond to the questions within the email. And it would give us a much more visibility within the community in the Pride Guide. This would be part of the Pride Guide for 2023.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to piggyback, Denise, on what you said. For another organization, we just put together a list of all the existing prides, and setting aside what's happening in actual Pittsburgh, I just wanted to let you know that there are prides that are scheduled for Laurel Highlands, Fox Chapel, Connellsville, Washington, PA, Warren County, Vandergrift, that's a brand new one, and Erie, of course, Crawford County, and there's the prides are not scheduled yet for Crafton, Scottdale, and Dormont, Meadville, Somerset. And I think that's all that we have so far, which I'm not asking, I'll make the list available if anyone's interested. But it's amazing how many prides and how many of those are Vandergrift. That's not somewhere that you would necessarily expect a pride to be held. And kudos to all those organizers getting them done. Crawford County, Warren County. I mean, these are new, and it's worth noting. I don't know if there's any formal role we would play, but I do think we should support and encourage folks in this, especially in the rural communities around their prides. Denise, if I sent you that list, you could add it to the calendar?
Yep.
Okay. Any thoughts on this? Another comment I want to make is, has everyone liked the Facebook page who's on Facebook? And please use the invite function to encourage people to support what we're trying to do. There's a way to get a lot of visibility there too. So any other plans?
Would we be able to have a presence at some of these as a commission?
Well, I think we could look at all of them, but a lot of them overlap. So that's one issue, but
I know it's manpower, well, not manpower, people power. And how would we get volunteers to help? And would we have something to talk about or show? But I think it's important to start getting the word out and have more visibility. And some of these will be very important to be attending.
well, we should talk about that maybe at our next month in more detail, how we would prioritize what events we went to, both in terms of time and availability and also the need for us to be present. Billy, could you make a note to add that to the agenda? Is that okay, Richard, if we do that? And if anyone has other prides, please add them to the list. Richard, let me add to you, this past Saturday, my Protect Trans Kids tabled at City Theater. Gorgeous set and costuming, by the way. It was very, very lovely and powerful with the jacket switches. I really like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was very excited to be part of that. Yeah, thank you.
Well, it was a fantastic performance, but I found a couple of the brochures. So I brought them with us and we put them on the table, and they were all taken, and people were, asking comments. Unfortunately, I was able to answer them. So that brochure is dated, but it does have impact. So I knew that you had advocated for that, and I wanted to just let you know that.
And just for another aside, the production team, it was an all LGBTQ production team crew. So which is not hard in a theater, but still, it was wonderful to see mutual faces that understood the mission.
The show was called, wait, what is
What
it?
the Constitution means
Yeah,
to me.
Teenage.
Yeah.
So it would have actually been a very good fit for us to table, but perhaps we'll see what's coming up. That's always an opportunity. Okay, let's move on. The working group on city council relationship and the city council post-agenda meeting. Okay, I have some pretty strong thoughts on this, so Denise, could you chair this section of it, please? Okay.
So so it's the post-agenda meeting, it's Wednesday, February 22nd. I'm not sure how many people are attending.
Well,
May I?
I'd like to, I'm making a motion that we postpone that meeting indefinitely due to lack of preparation on our part. And I hope I'll get a second so we can discuss this.
I guess I can second that. I'd like to be helpful in any way I can, but I'd love to hear your thoughts, Sue.
Okay, Billy, are we okay to move ahead on the conversation?
Yeah, there's a motion and a second, so now it's open for discussion.
Just very simply, we have 2 business days to get everything together so that we can submit it in a time. And no one's really taken the initiative to be involved in planning this. We put a lot of effort into planning for the meeting with the mayor. I think this should receive the same amount of energy, time, and thought. And I don't believe we're prepared. And rather than have a unproductive meeting or look foolish, or be disrespectful to city council, I believe it's in our best interest to postpone and take a look at why we're not prepared.
Well,
Join in? No. Go ahead, Bill. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of this motion. I think we are prepared. I think we're prepared by our experience and what has happened. For the meeting with the mayor, our agenda for the mayor was to ask the mayor what his vision is for us. I think that's an appropriate question for city council. We reviewed commission goals. We had our commission goals on a document that we shared with the mayor. We can do that for city council. We didn't spend much time summarizing commission accomplishments, but we did talk about other things that the mayor prompted in that area. And we asked for the mayor to support the commission and to see that we are funded and also advertised appropriately. So we had an agenda. It's a generalized agenda and it applies equally to city council with some minor modifications. And I'm willing to draft those this evening at the conclusion of this meeting and send them to everybody. But I think there's been some work to set up this meeting by city council, and the invites have gone out. And I don't think we should postpone it. I think that we're equipped to talk about what we've done, what our vision is, and ask city council the same sorts of questions that we talked to the mayor about.
Bruce, you were gonna say something?
Sure, if I may, I'm happy to join in. I view my role here really as more of a facilitator than anything else. I'm happy to carry the wishes of the commission to council. If you wish to keep data scheduled, we're happy to do so. If you wish to reschedule, I'm happy to carry the message as well. The post agenda, one of the I guess I'll sort of explain how they happen. One of the reasons there's not a roll call at a post agenda meeting or a mandatory attendance is that there's no action being taken. There's no official action that requires a vote by members. They're informative in nature, and they're really, I view them really more as open avenues of discussion. I may tend to approach them a little more casually. I hope that's not too strong a word than maybe others might, but I've always viewed them as more of a round table where the public gets to see, has the opportunity to see us in discourse, floating ideas, offering suggestions, maybe navigating approaches, but there's nothing definitive or in terms of decisions that happen there. And I don't want the commission to think that this is the only opportunity that the commission would have to interact with council. We could set this up as a series of meetings. We could do sort of an introductory piece of the commission to council, what our thoughts have been, just talk a little bit about the meeting with the mayor, wanting to perhaps maybe propose some to city council, and then we could always regroup a second or even a third time to further a conversation. I don't want the commission to think that somehow this is a one and done, and this would be your only opportunity to engage council. So again, I'm happy to follow whatever the wishes of the body is in how you wish to proceed, but again, it's not a one and done. There's ample opportunity to do it in a series of meetings as we change, grow, evolve, come up with different priorities that we may not have realized previously, and continue to present those to council on a regular basis. So, however you wish to proceed, I'm only happy to assist.
Thank you. Go ahead, Sue.
I would like to respond to some of these comments. First of all, when we brought this meeting up, one of our members mentions very specifically that we needed an agenda, a clear agenda for this. And recently on our email discussion, another member said they wanted to see the agenda to invite their member of council. And so to me, the directive has been, we needed an agenda. I hear what Billy's saying about the fact that the agenda from the other meeting could adapt to this. That's not the same thing as an intentional, thoughtful planning session, because the mayor's office and the mayor and city council are different entities. They have different responsibilities, different histories with this committee. So I'm not comfortable. I feel like that's cramming a square peg into a round hole so that we have something to do. And I can't just agree that I think it's the best agenda. I'm not even sure it's a good enough agenda, but so I do, these are concerns. And the last thing I'm going to say here is, and this is real serious, is, you know, people aren't responding. They're not getting invested. They're not getting involved. They're not checking their email. Several people have told me to text them to remind them to check their email. You know, we're adults. That's not necessary, except in an emergency, but it continues the same. You know, we don't have participation. And I'm disappointed that so many people responded with such eagerness to meet with the mayor, although I'm not about that, but failed to show even half of that enthusiasm and investment when it comes to city council. I don't think that's good for our mission. I think that it doesn't serve the community well. And I'm not taking anything away from what went into the mayor at all. I'm saying we should have that same level with city council. And if people aren't even checking their email or responding to email in a timely manner, I'm not sure how we can get to that place, but I think there's a risk if we have all this investment in the mayor and not in city council. That puts us back in the position of being perceived as the mayor's advisory committee, not because of him or anything he's done, but because of our actions or lack of actions. So I strongly feel that we should postpone.
Any other comments?
Is there I forget, is there a Zoom option for this meeting?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, may I jump in again? I do, it's great in the digital age and with all of the different challenges that we face that we have this digital option. I'm home tonight. Most of us are from our own locations. I'm recovering from a shoulder surgery that I had about a week ago. And it's wonderful to have the option of being able to tune in from a remote location. But for the meeting in council, I would suggest, would like very much if we could all do our very best to be in person. I think it's just a better way to facilitate a conversation that one can't really have on a digital platform. I certainly would do my best. And the reason that I asked that we do this on either a Tuesday or a Wednesday is because council is in session in person. Members, will be on the floor and have an easier opportunity to actually present themselves in person. So if that appears a challenge that members feel they may not be able to be in person at the meeting, then maybe that would be part of the consideration to reconsider this date and time and possibly look at a different date and time.
My concern, because I have my own business, I would have to close my business for a day to attend. And when there's something in the middle of the afternoon, it's easier for me to do a Zoom option. Otherwise, I totally agree. I would love to be there in person. There's that synergy is really important, but because of my business, I cannot do that.
Jim, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was gonna say the only comment for me is that I don't know about indefinite postponing of the event. I also do agree that many of the things that we would discuss with the office of the mayor, we would also discuss with council. But I guess I also agree that it can never be a perfect match. So that's all I would have to say.
Yeah, I'll add that I think that if we would meet as a committee to do the agenda, we would come up with what is city council's vision for us? What are our commission goals? We'd summarize our accomplishments. I mean, we would point out the legislation. The one thing that might be specific that would be analogous to what we talked about with the mayor regarding specific commission seats would be to have consideration in how they are identified or titled when they do a resolution to name someone. But there's such this would be a first meeting. I agree with Bruce. It's an introduction, it's a roundtable, and I don't know that we would come up with anything more. It's already planned. I think that we should attend it.
Maria, your hand's raised.
Yeah, I don't think indefinite postponement would be, I'm not in favor of that, but broadly speaking, I think from a purely legislative body that is city council, looking holistically at adding to a post-agenda hearing like this, a discussion around the broader legislative attacks that we're seeing on the community right now, especially as a trans woman, seeing what is happening across the country, what is some proposed legislation that's happened in Harrisburg, all these things are happening right now that are moving in legislative bodies, and being able to pull together the city's legislative body to have a discussion about that and see what we can do in partnership on to further ensure the protections that we have in place here in Pittsburgh, but also talk about and strategize ways with them around things like how do we, advocate at the State House together as both a commission, but also like from City Council in terms of, speaking up on behalf of trans kids and trans healthcare and trans folks in sports. Like there's all this stuff happening on top of the banning of drag queens, and just there's like plenty of opportunity here to engage in legislative discussion in a post-agenda hearing beyond just a basic, here's the commission, here's who we are, but really like dig into a little bit of meat around what we're seeing from that perspective.
Sue?
I think that Maria makes a good point, and we do have several races for city council, and I've had a chance to read over some questionnaires with some of the candidates, and they've brought up some really interesting points of view. And not that we're going to discuss the candidates, but that I think there's some issues there that we may want to explore. And I think when I talk about having a planning session, I'm thinking at our executive committee meeting like we did last time, and inviting everyone to attend and working on what it is we'll discuss. I'm not opposed to the items Billy mentioned, but I'm not sure that they're robust enough. In addition, I do think we need to talk about this fact. Is the meeting not effective if we don't have a lot of people in person? We need to talk about that. Some people can't make that happen, but others perhaps could if they knew that it was essential for what we were trying to do. We need to talk about inviting our members of council and all the members of council. I have no idea if anyone did or did not do that. And we need to really talk about the issue of why didn't we pull this off? We have a list of things that have fallen to the wayside, and I don't want us to continue doing that. If we're going to put something aside intentionally and not return to it, let's do that versus just having a big list, a list of things that we're not accomplishing. I think this could be accomplished by a strategy meeting, and it didn't. We all own that, and this is a chance to fix it.
Any other comments?
I just don't agree with the characterization that the history of this commission is a list of unfinished business.
Well, I think if two members of the executive committee have opposing views on that, it needs to be discussed. Maybe not here, but if we both have strongly felt beliefs that are completely opposite of each other, we need to talk about that.
So we have a motion to postpone indefinitely. I mean, do we want to edit that at all?
I'll edit my amendment, my motion to postpone at least past our next executive committee meeting and at the first available time slot that City Council can provide to us.
Sue, would you say that one more time?
I would like to wait until after our next executive committee meeting, because I would like to use that time to plan. But then whatever's available, I don't want to drag it out. And since we're the ones canceling, you know, we should maybe ask for the first available. That's too long a motion, I know. I'm trying to explain what
No,
I'm getting.
it's not. It's okay. I understand. I was just trying to get my
That would
my
be
brain around
March
the spirit of
2nd.
it.
That, so the next executive committee meeting, so what, if I understand it, because I'm gonna record a motion, that it would be to postpone the post-agenda meeting that includes the commission at city council until some date after March 2nd. How about this, Sue? At the earliest possible date after March 2nd.
Yeah. That's good. That works.
Great. I'll second that then.
You don't need to, Sue already, but that's okay. You seconded already, I think.
Okay.
It's a friendly amendment to my own motion.
All in favor?
All right.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
That'll be me.
And Jam too.
I don't know the number of in favors.
I believe there
two.
was two.
Bruce and myself were the only
Two
two.
in favors. There were 4 noes. 3 abstentions.
Do we still have quorum?
Guillermo,
Guillermo's here. 1,
Yes, I'm here.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, we're at 7 of 13 that are calculated for quorum.
I am in favor, but executive committee believes is best because they are the ones that are meeting more regularly than the full group.
Guillermo, I didn't catch the first part of your comment.
I am in favor of whatever the executive committee thinks is best because they are the ones that are moving and driving the full group. And so if you think that you have to have a meeting to address that first, then I think that should happen.
I think Guillermo, the executive committee is split on their decision.
There are only 2 members here currently, and yeah, they're divided.
Oh, there's 3.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Denise. Well, Denise abstained, so.
So the motion failed. It was failed 4-2.
Right.
Well, thank you for hearing me out. So I think we, Denise, do you want me to take things back?
please.
Okay, so we have the meeting next week. I'm not sure if we need to do anything to get ready for that. Perhaps we need concrete RSVPs. That seems like a reasonable ask. Everyone could make a point to RSVP to Billy about your attendance and whether you'll be in person or virtual.
I think also that an invite was sent out by city council and that if you act on the invite, it loads onto your calendar and you'd be able to see a list of people who accepted the invitation. that would be a clear, transparent way. So I'll send an email reminder to RSVP by accepting or declining the invitation so that it's known. And I think it'll work that way, but you could also respond to my email regarding it. And I'll also follow up on my earlier comment of crafting the agenda that we use for the mayor and distributing it to everyone. And if you want to chime in and add, presenting some information on legislative and a potential discussion about cooperation on efforts in Harrisburg, I think that's fine to add that in my view, but I said I would do that, so I'll do that this evening.
Bruce, will this be a 1 hour meeting? Maria, do you know if this would be a 1 hour meeting?
Sorry, I couldn't find my,
Okay, sorry.
there's no limit to it at all whatsoever.
Okay.
It can be as short or as long as the conversation lasts.
Okay.
When we scheduled it through Bob, he told us that an hour is ideal.
It-
But if we wanted, if we spill over, it will be okay.
Having served 16 years in my 16th year and attending hundreds of post-agenda meetings, there's no regulation to a meeting at all. However the conversation ebbs and flows, we're happy to stay and listen.
Okay, so this,
So
I'm
before
sorry.
we go on, we discussed that, and I think we all agreed that if you can attend in person, that would be best. But are we also agreeing to, if we can only attend virtually, to do so, or should we not?
If that question is open, I would strongly recommend you attend any way that you possibly can. Understanding that members have unbelievably complex and complicated lives and are pulled in 15 directions every other minute. And so for the members to make time to appear, be there in person, clear the calendars, make certain that they're there to engage in the conversation with you, would behoove us to be present. Yes. Whether that be digital or in person. I just happen to like the in-person thing. I'm about as over the digital communication as I can possibly be. I need to see and be with people.
Bruce, do you have any information on which members of council will be attending?
It will ebb and flow. I can't honestly say what their calendars are a week in advance. Things change, on a moment's notice. So it's hard to say, but, I could speculate on some members that I believe would absolutely attend and some that wouldn't, but I don't know that would really be productive.
Okay, any other conversation on this meeting? Well, then, this was under the working group on the city council relationship. We wanted to have this meeting first and then pick up that committee to look at that relationship. So there's nothing else to report until we have this meeting. Next is the Human Services Working Group. That's not a great title for it, but it's a good shorthand reference. We have a couple people that have expressed interest, and we're planning to have a Zoom meeting. Kathy took the lead in getting one started, and unfortunately it didn't work out, but we're hoping that to at least have a conversation about what this could look like and what we could do. Anyone who's interested in it, maybe once we have it more defined, people may be interested in taking up pieces of it. Kathy is not sharing the working group now. She said
Thank
that
you.
she is not sharing it. So, and any questions on that? Pretty straightforward. Okay, so next is unfinished business. When to begin in-person meetings? What are your thoughts on this, everybody?
Well, that can help to increase participation of people, because the more the people interact, I think the more visibility there will be, perhaps even more participation.
I agree.
Um,
I agree as well.
Yeah, if I may join in, just, people need people. It's just, digital is good to a point. It just is. Not to quote Babs, huh? Not to quote Miss Streisand, but people need people. It just, I so want to be around people again. I just so want to be around people. And while it's nice to be recovering and have the opportunity, I love the idea that the opportunity is presented to join in a remote location, either physically, but I sincerely hope that, all facets of city business, regardless of what that might be, will return to an in-person platform again. That's my hope.
Maria, do you know if the mayor's conference room would be available for our next meeting if we did that?
I would have to look at the schedule to see if it would be available for that.
Okay. And I know we've used the so-called IKEA room before. As a
Yeah.
backup.
That room will be undergoing some changes to help better support the staff here and office space here. So it's not a permanent solution. But there's also another room on the 6th floor that we call the Learning Lab, which actually works well if we need to support anyone joining in remotely, that we can look into as well. But that's where we hold all of our official cabinet meetings with department directors, as well as like learning educational type stuff, which is a bigger space.
Okay.
I believe at our last executive committee meeting, we discussed that Marcus would be taking the lead to work with Morgan to organize what space will be in, what's available, all of those pieces. And I'm sure he'll let us know if there's any complications. And then we had also talked about going to Guillermo's space for our second meeting or soon after, which again would be something that Marcus would coordinate. Okay, so are we ready? We know we have the infrastructure. We have a date. Do we need to have more time to get the commissioners on board with this? I definitely think a hybrid model is a good idea, at least for our first meeting or so.
Well,
Because it is, go ahead.
I think, one of the things that we have talked and discussed around had to do with being in contact with the community, reach out. I think although we are still in creation in a certain way, I think we're pretty much ready to start hearing people and start understanding what are the topics that matter the most to them. There are a lot of them that we know that are obvious, but there might be something that we don't know. So something that I think is important for the commission is to start interacting with the communities. And this is where the city, it's very important that we are working together and listen to people. First, knowing that we exist, because after all, this was an initiative by the city. And therefore the residents, they're in the agenda. So now there's a commission. Now we want to hear you. Now we want to work together. We want to see what we can take and see what we can do. We don't know. There might be things that are completely new, but I think that's the purpose of the commission. What we can do and move forward in serving people in the region. So I think that's the message that we have to give to the city. representatives and see how we can begin to do that to some extent. I gave the idea of community meetings. I put it out there, but I don't know what else may be possible.
I think those are important points. We've had many conversations around that, and I agree that seems to be a priority that we want to do. But right now we have to decide, are we going to be able to get enough commissioners to come to an in-person meeting? And should we do that in March? Should we do it in April? Should we kick the can a little further down the line? How do we get enough people there? Because if we have if let's say we have quorum and over 50% of the people are tuning in digitally, is that still worthwhile?
Well, I thought you just asked that question, and most people agree that we want to meet in person. I think what we have to do now is the ones that we didn't hear from them, just ask them this is what's going to be happening and invite them to participate in person. I don't see anything else different than that, and this is probably something where the city person that is helping us to coordinate can actually do that, so that your time or somebody else's time is not involved in that. I think that's where we could utilize some of those resources to engage people, to engage commissioners.
That's a good point. I have to be very honest with you. I will probably continue to attend remotely, both because of my health and also because getting to the city county building at 5:30 on a weeknight is almost a logistical impossibility for me. So not that I'm opposed to this. I just want to make sure we always have the hybrid option.
Well, I was also going to say is, do you think there will be more people willing to come in person if it isn't downtown?
Well, I just feel like we're going around in circles in this topic. And, I think the offer has been made by Maria that she can locate a building, a room within the city to host that first meeting. I heard that the first meeting is very important based on what Representative Krause was mentioning. So all we have to do is get the commissioners to attend the meeting and do that first meeting so that we can move forward from there. I don't think we should be debating as to where we should be hosting the meetings in the future. I made my offer for our space, if you want, for the second meeting, but other places maybe also available. And if not a place is available, and then it seems like we can meet in the city building, then we meet there, and those that they can meet virtually. But I think I feel like we're going around in circles in this topic.
Well, I think so too, but I might take a little drive around the bend again anyway. I agree with doing a meeting in person with the virtual option because it's doable at a location in the city county building on the date in guess it'll be the 16th of March. The room that is described, it doesn't really give access to the public who might, although I don't know that there would be many individuals from the public attending it, but at some point that would be good if that was happening, that there were people attending our commission meetings and that there was a public comment period and that there were the ability to read or announce statements by individuals and that we would hear that. I mean, that's part of our charge, is to make that available. So I think that our meeting, but I like what Guillermo's saying, let's get the first one in because that's going to take a little bit of doing, just assembling us. But then I think we have to, at that meeting, look at what the venue should be for the future so that it can accommodate all the things we're obligated to do. And that would include a place that is accessible, fully accessible to people who might, and the public who might come to the meeting.
Maria, do you know if the other commissions like Gender Equity
Jam
Commission,
had
like-
his hand up.
I'm sorry.
Jam?
Oh, that's okay. I'll make it quick. I think I agree with Billy. I kind of am opposed to the idea of having it in the mayor's conference room. It's not really accessible to the public, and I don't think we actually really have to meet in the city county building. Maybe that would make things easier, but because we can have the space, but we could actually always meet in the community. I don't know that there's any reason that we have to always meet at the city county building. So I'll just add that.
There's the technology, Jam. You know, we have to have our meetings broadcast, and so that's a very big factor that we have to consider. Their availability, their resources. So I
That's,
think
that's
the-
correct, Sue. The ability to do hybrid gets considerably more challenging when we don't know setups of the room. Is there ability to do that? Like that's one of the things that we can't control by using some of the spaces here at City Hall. And it's free here, and we can do what we can to try to you know, make it as accessible as possible. Doesn't have to be in the mayor's conference room, but we could, quite frankly, we could set up shop on the 5th floor in front of council chambers. We could set up tables and chairs out there in that entryway if we want to make it more people able to attend that way as well. So there's a variety of options we can get a little creative with to provide more space for people.
So
Richard, did
so
you
my
have something?
yeah, my question was, do the other commissions invite the public to attend?
I think in theory, all commission meetings are open to the public. Whether or not public actually attends the commission meetings is another matter. Obviously, I think things like the zoning commission or the planning commission are much more widely attended just because of the nature of the work that they do. But others, I'm unsure of. I know, I don't believe, even though this commission is live streamed and broadcast out on a variety of mediums, I don't know if any individual has actually ever watched or viewed from the public side.
And I know the public, when they do ask questions, they're limited to a 3-minute window. And is that would be true of all the other commissions? And if there were like some kind of live chat, right now, we don't even have chat on this page, as at least not on my page, to you know, do some other links outside our conversation. So it just becomes logistically much more difficult to include the public somehow.
It's in the interest of time, I'm gonna say we get the sense that everybody's ready, or most of us are ready for it to happen. It's gonna be imperfect. We're not able to do all of the things we want to do right away, but the first step is to hold a meeting. And city, you know, we can work with Morgan to get the space and continue the conversation about how we expand to include the public and what that looks like. The question goes back to, do you want to do this in March or do you want to wait till April? Just so we decide as a group what that's going to be. We have to tell everybody right away, so we start planning. Does someone want to make a motion either way?
I would like to make a motion that we start in-person meetings in March.
I second.
Second, okay. Any discussion? We've had a lot of discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jam, what's your vote? All opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
Okay, great. So we are going to have our next meeting at the City County building somewhere. And we will let Marcus and Morgan work out a proposed first step and see what that looks like. And of course, we'll keep everyone updated on that. Okay. Oh, I lost my agenda. I apologize for that. Hey, what's next on the agenda? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Legislative policy item.
Okay, yes. So I want to start by just pointing out something that's very impressive to me is that Western Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh and Allegheny County have now sent 3 out queer women to the General Assembly, to the House of Representatives on the state level. One of those women is Black. One of those women is Jewish. 2 of them are autistic. These are their self-definition. And as somebody who's been involved in this for years and years and years, like I never saw that coming. You know, I think it's amazing that our first real cluster of representation comes from our region and that it's women. And that's Latasha Mays, Jessica Benham, and we just elected Abigail Salisbury, who is an out bisexual woman and the first Jewish woman, not the first, the only Jewish woman to serve in the General Assembly right now. So for the record, I would just like to commend them and the voters for what I think is a very important milestone for all of us. And we need to do a legislative update. So I want to clarify, there's been talk about the bill, that the alleged bill that would ban drag performances in public. It's just really important to remember it's not a bill yet. It's a memo that was circulated by someone and received no co-signers to my knowledge. So it's not pending legislation. And that's really important because that's how the legislative process works. You can send a memo around about any kind of thing that you want, and you have to get support to get it to that first step where it becomes a potential piece of legislation. I don't want to minimize the concerns that we have, but I do want to make sure we have a realistic perspective, because any effort we would take to resist it should be in proportion to its potential impact. And I believe that there are no other active pieces of legislation in Pennsylvania so far on the state level that could change. Does anyone else have a legislative update, any level of government? We are also aware of the Bucks County, the central Bucks County and central Bucks County school districts are changing their policies to pretty much strip trans kids of all their rights in the public setting. They're also bringing book bans in. That's very frightening. And it's something that we should pay close attention to. There's been similar actions here. Although what happened in Southside and Beaver County was not the same thing because they didn't actually have a policy. They just tried some guidelines, and when it didn't work, they went back to business as usual. So, and Bruce, is there any legislation in the city council that we should know about? I don't know if Bruce is still here.
No, I am. I just had to take a phone call. I apologize. Did you ask for any updates?
Is there any LGBTQ legislation that we should know about from city council?
That's presently under consideration? No.
Okay. I don't think that there's any concerns about Pittsburgh Public Schools changing their policies, but we can't take that for granted. So we should be vigilant.
Yes,
Luckily,
we can.
we could take it for granted. Good. I like that decisive response. That's good. Now, that being said, there are over 300 pieces of legislation active around the United States. And last year, there was a total of about 289, no, maybe closer to 400. Yeah. So it's frightening how fast this stuff is spreading. And again, most of these bills are not going to go anywhere, but they have an impact on the people who live in those communities. And we can't. Did you see what happened in Armstrong County has had these horrible billboards. Now they're up in Butler County, and it's the same guy. There's nothing that can be done. The Armstrong County Democratic Committee put up a sign that's like an affirming, you're all welcome here sign near the original billboard. And the billboard company took it down. And they claimed that the owner of the property had received death threats. Now, I've known people who've received death threats, and in my opinion, they tend to call the police, not their billboard guy. But that's what seemed to have happened. And then it turns out that the company is based in Ohio. The sister who sits on their board is a very right-wing anti-LGBTQ extremist. So that's a Democratic group. So it's partisan, but it's not partisan in the sense that part of that messaging was to our community. So we should be aware of this. And see what happens. All right, anything else on this? Let's move on to proposed new business. Proposed information request to the mayor for LGBTQI representation on city boards and commissions. You know what? We don't have on here our existing, Billy, we don't have a line item for our existing reappointments and our request about removing Nakia and all of that. Is that under here, or that's not really new business?
It's not under there. It has been already presented to the mayor.
Right.
So
Do we have a response? Morgan, Maria, do we have a response on that?
Yeah, this is Morgan. Hey, everyone. I'm currently working on legislation to retain Jam, Lenny, and Marcus as we speak. So that is in the works. In terms of the removal of Nakia, that's something I can also work on if Nakia is down to do that. They would have to just submit a resignation letter.
Morgan, I'll talk to you after the meeting about what's actually transpired there.
Okay.
About what's, so you have a sense of, without discussing it publicly.
Got it. Thank you.
Well, Lenny, Jam, Marcus, you better start making nice with city council if you want to come back. So that's a good decision. Thank you to the mayor for making that decision. I think it's in the best interest of the commission, and I'm very glad to continue working with all three. Okay, so there was a request in a previous meeting to ask the mayor that we wanted to submit a request to the mayor for information on LGBTQI representation on the BACs. Morgan, is that something that you can help us do?
Yeah, for sure. So just to confirm, you all are just trying to see the representation across boards and commissions. I'm not sure if that data has been put anywhere, but I can definitely inquire. But let me just confirm first if that's what you're asking for.
Yeah, well, that's what the request was to us, was the representation, so not person specific.
And are you talking about commissions currently or just over the span of time?
I think currently. And not just commissions, boards and authorities as well. So any kind of appointment. And if the data isn't being tracked, that's a good conversation to have, to see if it should be and what we can do with that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as someone that's been on the Gender Equity Commission, we've been advocating for disaggregated data for the longest in city government. So this goes right hand in hand.
Well, perhaps that leads us to another avenue, is that we should work with the Gender Equity Commission on this sort of information gathering. Morgan, maybe I'll talk with you afterward to get some sense of what that might look like, and then we can discuss it at our next meeting.
Yeah, for sure. I have a hard stop at 7, but Sue, you and I need to touch base anyway, so I'm happy for us to power through that.
We don't have to do it tonight. We can do it another time. Okay, electoral representation. I don't know what that means, Billy. I'm blunt here.
I believe you probably already talked about that in regards to honoring the 3 reps from Southwestern PA who are members of our community.
Probably. That's probably it. So I do know that the Steel City Stonewall Democrat questionnaires will start being posted on Friday. I'm posting some on my blog right now. And I encourage everyone to inform yourself on who's running and some of the exciting voices. And I want to say right now that I understand that Bruce is retiring or moving on to his next chapter. It's going to be very sad if City Council does not have an out LGBTQ person. However, that just means we all need to continue to recruit people to run for office and to serve us. So there are some candidates running, so who knows what will happen. Any other feedback? I'm bringing you in under time. I'm like the best co-chair experience possible. Any other thoughts, comments? Richard, are you doing any other shows?
I would just like to talk about something super quick. I was invited to sit on a panel that awarded residency grants to artists. And these were 36 artists that we looked at. And I would say a majority of them were BIPOC, trans, and queer voices. So I'm very excited to see programming that is channeling our community specifically. And you will see, I am not allowed to say which organization, but it'll be a season of artists that would represent our community in the best way possible. So I think it's very important that we have representation always in all channels of the media, and in the arts. I always talk about it, and I'm very excited to share that news. And I don't know did I talk to you about Kyle Abraham, my friend who's a Black queer artist, dancer. I commissioned him to do a 5-minute work for an upcoming fashion sustainable show in June. And this is major news because nobody has done this locally at this level. And because we're friends, and I've supported him for over 30 years through Pride festivals. He's performed for me. I'm very excited to share that he's going to do something very specific for our community and for me, and that will be shared at the Carnegie Museum of Art in June.
Great.
Always good to have good news, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maria?
Yeah, I just wanted to share, I'm not sure if folks saw, but I have transitioned into a new role with the Gainey administration. I am now serving as communications director, as we have expanded and have revamped the way the communications infrastructure works for the city of Pittsburgh. So we're in the process of hiring and looking for a replacement for me as press secretary as I step into a little bit of a larger role within the administration.
Congratulations.
Yes, congrats. That's wonderful.
Maria, that's wonderful.
Any other news or information, ideas, comments, suggestions? We've got 9 minutes. We don't have to fill them, but you know, everybody can go to.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Are you going to abstain from that though?
That's my first official motion as a commission member.
Oh. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll
I
second.
second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone. We'll see you.
Good night, everyone.
in a
Thank
month.
you.
Good night.